Today I'd like to spend a few minutes and talk about the importance of having financial conversations between parents and their adult children. So as people are aging, we're seeing more and more reason why these kinds of conversations are really important. But the interesting thing is that according to a survey that was conducted back in 2017 by TIAA-CREF, both parents and their adult children, 74%, 87%, consider these kinds of conversations to be very important. However, surprisingly, only 11% of parents and 37% of adult children are likely to start the conversation. So here's some reasons why you might want to start the conversation. And as a financial advisor, I think we're in a unique place where we can really help start the conversation, help facilitate the discussion, and help take away a lot of the emotion that comes into play between generations. So a few things just to keep in mind here. The benefits are that the children will have an understanding of what's going on. They'll understand what the risks are of the parent's situation. A big one has to do with long-term medical care. So if the parent should require long-term medical care, assisted living or long-term medical care in the future, how's this going to happen? As we all know, it can be very, very expensive. But how are they going to pay for it? And do they have the money to pay for it? Or is there long-term medical care insurance that will help fund it? And those kinds of things. So we think getting that out on the table really can help with the anxiety level that the children might be feeling around this whole issue, because they're hearing their friends talking about, the $200,000 a year or things like that it costs to live in a nursing home or an assisted care or memory care kind of facility. Then, of course, the other big issue around that relates to downsizing. So there's tax implications with selling the family home. Unless the home is worth less than $500,000, but anything over $500,000, there could be tax implications with selling it. So that's one thing that we think is good to get out on the table so people know exactly what those implications are. The other piece is the investment assets. What are those investment assets? Do they consist of IRAs? Do they consist of annuities? Because now, under the Secure Act, IRAs need to be paid out within 10 years of death to the parents' heirs, to usually the children. It's a whole new wrinkle in the financial planning process. And the more that there's an understanding between generations of what the tax implications are for both, the better. Also, as it relates to downsizing, before I forget, there's this whole issue of helping parents to deal with their stuff, because the stuff associated with an older generation there's a deep emotional connection to that. So we've got to tread lightly to try to help the parents deal with these things so that they can make thoughtful moves in the future, whether to an apartment or whether to an assisted living facility, or even into a continuing care retirement community. So there's all kinds of pros and cons to all of those, but getting the conversation out there and started can be really, really helpful. And lastly, well, second to last, is the importance of making sure the estate plan is there. There's a will, there's a power of attorney, both financial and medical, and there's advanced medical directives so that those people who the parents designate can make those kinds of end-of-life decisions. But also there's another one, and lastly I'll finish with this, that has to do with the parent's financial plan and whether the parent's plan is overfunded or underfunded, as we talked about before. But if it's overfunded, the question is, when do you want to leave your children with this money? Do you want to leave it now while you can see them enjoy it, or do you want to wait until you're gone and then they receive the assets at that point? So there's a lot of considerations around this whole topic, but beginning to address those things can be really helpful in opening up a healthy dialogue between the generations so that the plans that you put in place are well thought out, everybody understands, and really can be impactful to both generations. So we hope this segment was helpful, and certainly if we can be helpful in terms of asking the right questions or pointing you in the right directions as it relates to this, we will be happy to do so. So thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it.